You are born to reproduce only. We are removing flowers from the plants. This is the reproductive organ of a plant to offer to God. Why do God require reproductive organ of all these organisms? See, you have right to kill organism for only two reasons. One is defense. Another thing is food. See, we have value education classes. Better than that, it is, take the students out for a field work and let them, experience nature. When you get a greatest happiness, part of a body or a skin is scratch. I want to scratch that part, and while scratching, that is the greatest happiness.
Right.
Okay, that means when the sense organs are giving that input to your brain, you forget the entire environment. One fish where the female lays eggs in the mouth of the male, and the male is not starving till the fries come out. They go out, come back, and that training is there. It opens, keeps the mouth open. They go out, and when they are free living, just close the mouth and starts eating food.
And you used to say pleasure is the bonus from nature.
Yes.
So what do you say about depression? Other mental health concepts?
They are not in touch with nature. That is the problem. That's the cause of depression.
Hey guys, welcome back to QR Podcast. The guest of today's podcast is Dr. Hemachandra Amin, HOD, head of the department at Zoology at St. Aloysius College. So welcome for the podcast. I'm pretty glad that we're having this conversation.
Thank you.
I was a student, and just like in the podcast, I used to ask questions in his class, and there was a pattern. Like, it's not just me. Even my juniors and seniors used to say, whenever they ask question, you used to answer in one phrase, nature's law. So this topic for today's conversation is nature's law, and I hope to cover things like what we can learn from nature as a timeless wisdom, and in a zoological perspective. And this is your 30th year in teaching zoology? 31st, wow. Okay. So what do you mean by, when you said nature's law, what do you mean by nature's law? Or can address the listeners who are new to this concept. So, and how did you develop this philosophy of nature's law?
The philosophy is developed by observing nature, keen observation of nature. And what I see is everybody is telling that nature is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And perfect means, it is either 0 or 100. It has got, we follow that rule of all or none principle, which is there in the conduction of nerve impulse. Mm-hmm. Like that we see, it is either 0 or 100. Nothing in between. So there is no scope for mediocre. Nothing in between 0 and 100. It is either yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not ready for the answer no most of the time. That is our problem. Nature has only two answers, yes or no. If we implement that in our life, that is fantastic actually. We should know that whenever there is no, which is not accepted by us, we should say that this is nature's law.
Can you give me an example, to simplify it? Like, what do you mean by yes and no?
See, anything, you want from nature, or you say that you want a child, maybe a male or a female. You want male, but you get female.
Okay.
And there nature says no. So you have to accept that principle which is there in nature. And that is the way nature works. And in nature, everything is a very, very slow process. Formation of a soil is also a very slow process. Formation of a forest or a desert. The present day desert may be future days forest, right. Evergreen forest. And present day evergreen forest may be a future desert. So it is either yes or no, destruction or construction. That's the only principle in nature. And both destruction as well as construction takes a very long time. See, for example, natural calamity, we say it is sudden. We have not expected. But we have invested to that destruction slowly. And that's why one fine day we find destruction. Recently what happened in Wayanad? That we are responsible for most of these destructions. And whatever harm we do to nature, maybe in terms of killing other organisms. You construct your house, but you kill the houses of so many organisms. And that's why we have religious practice saying that, oh God, please pardon me for killing so many organisms, for destroying the houses of so many organisms for the construction of my house. That is actually the principle behind all those religious practices. Everything, all religions follow nature's law only. All the religious practices, it is, always in touch with the nature, as well as, all the constitution or the laws framed by different countries. All these have come from nature only. So, you destroy another organism for no reason, you will be punished by nature. Even our court of law says the same thing. For example, you kill an organism for your food. See, you have right to kill organism for only two reasons. One is defense. Another thing is food. Tiger or lion kills one organism and it feeds on whatever it wants. It takes, and rest of the things it gives for other organisms. But in our case, it is not like that. We kill the organism, eat a little, and the remaining things we keep it in the refrigerator. And after a few days, 50% of that food is thrown out. We are not distributing among people. That's why some of the religions, they say, whatever food you have, you distribute among people. Some of the important days, we distribute food for others, for the poor. That is the rule of nature.
So you meant that there's a duality.
Yeah.
Yes or no.
Yes.
Even in physics, there is like duality. I see the pattern there.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds very simple, but it have taken you a long time to realize this.
Yes.
So, do you have any story on the journey of the process? Like, how did you realize this eventually? Like, yes and no. Like, nature is straightforward. There is no complexity.
See, as a student, I used to hate ecology, and I used to find it boring. Maybe because of teachers or the environment. But I was interested in physiology more, and I started my research in physiology. But later, after becoming a teacher at St. Aloysius, then I started teaching ecology. There I understood the importance of ecology. And once I started understanding the principles of ecology, then I thought, okay, nature is everything. We have answer in nature for everything. And always for a problem, there is more than one solution. We have hundreds of solutions, but some of the solutions we don't like. That's why we don't treat it as a solution. So nature has a solution for everything. That one thing I have learned. And all these, disturbances, it is temporary. And if you survive in these, along with these disturbances, then you are fit. Nature considers you as a fit. That's how the concept has come, survival of the fittest.
Mm-hmm.
So, later my interest was in ecology, and as I went for field work for my research in ecology, I took up research in ecology, intertidal biodiversity, and I found that, there is answer for everything in nature. And keen observation of nature gives you, number of, values. See, we have value education classes. Better than that, it is, take the students out for a field work and let them, experience nature.
Right.
We go to a beach, for recreation purpose. There we don't see nature, but we see other people. That is the reason for going to a beach on Sunday evening go in the morning, early morning, and go and observe the changes happening around you. Maybe the temperature, maybe the wind flow, wind direction, all those things,
Bird movement,
the movement of water, wave height, high tide, low tide, all these things. If and as the wave comes to the shore, you can see number of organisms moving. And if you are interested in these organisms and see their movement, see their activity, you will learn a lot of things. So that's how I found that nature is the mother of everything. Value system, it comes from nature. The law system comes from nature. Everything from nature. And I observed one thing, there are only two answers, yes or no, in nature. And, sometimes we want yes, sometimes we want no. But nature is not like that. In the standard conditions, whatever answer it gives, it may be either yes or no.
Nothing in suspense.
Nothing in suspense, nothing in between.
Right. And when you said nature has answer for everything, and we are not ready to accept the answer, What did you mean by that? Like, can you give me an example in day-to-day life or general observation of people where they can see and get the answer from nature, which is right in front of them, but they are not ready to accept?
See, we speak about research.
Right.
Why we call it as research? Because nature has already searched. It is there in nature.
Right.
And we are searching it again. And there is nothing like original idea. Original idea is already there in nature. Your observation gives you an input, and you are coming out with the innovative idea. There is nothing called original idea. Original idea is already in. That is the answer. We have answers for everything in nature. Only thing is we have to find out, research it. So sometimes in research we have that expected result. We may not get that expected result. When we don't get expected result, we say that this is not research. I am failed in research. No, that is not the right thing. Whenever we have a negative answer, that means there is more to learn, and that is the area you have to work actually. Where you have answer no and you did not get your expected result. Your expected result is based on earlier papers, and earlier papers, the observation may be wrong. And if you say that this observation is wrong and you are giving a proof, that is a real research. So that is my experience, where sometimes I got a negative result, but when I pull everything at the end, I get an answer. So people are not having that patience to wait. Nature tells you to wait. That's why I'm saying nature has got answer, but you have to wait for that. Patience is very much important in research, also in life also. And people do not have that patience. That's why they become unfit in nature and they commit suicide and all those things. Nature considers these people as weaklings.
Survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest.
Like elimination.
So always the weaklings are removed. That is the
raw reality.
Kadva Sat.
Right.
We say raw reality. That is a reality, and we are not ready for that. That is our problem, not nature's problem. You damage nature, there is punishment. I have seen people, destroying the surroundings, and the effect is seen. The environmental changes. We speak about climate change. Climate change is a big word.
Right.
What we are saying is environmental change. The change in the factors, maybe temperature, humidity, all these things. But, climate change takes place over a long period of time. It takes decades and centuries.
Right.
The thermal, we speak about increase in the temperature. Temperature may increase or decrease. Rainfall may increase or decrease. That is a temporary change. These are all environmental changes. But constantly the temperature is changing. We have seen that increase of 1 to 1.5 degrees Celsius over the average temperature of 15 degrees Celsius. Global temperature is rising. That is a climate change. It has taken place for a long time.
Right.
So that we call as a climate change. And other things, the decrease in the rainfall or the temperature fall, all these things, or maybe a small variation. We call it as environmental variation. It is not a climate change.
It's your surrounding.
Changes
in your surrounding. Immediate surrounding.
And our body responds to that changes. So we are responsible for those changes because of our activities. And we can speak about a carbon footprint, where the amount of the greenhouse gases we release into the environment, and that is called as a carbon footprint. Maybe a carbon footprint of an individual or a family or a society or a state or a country or global carbon footprint. India is standing third in the carbon footprint. Number 1 is China, second is US. This is according to 2022 statistics. So we are responsible for the production of greenhouse gases. We start in the morning with a toothbrush and a toothpaste, and this is coming from some manufacturing unit. The raw materials are supplied to the manufacturing unit. So there also we give out a lot of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, oxides of nitrogen, chlorofluorocarbon, etc. So these are all considered as the greenhouse gases. And constantly we release greenhouse gases. By eating more also we are releasing greenhouse gases because the amount of undigested waste given out is more. And the type of food we take, for example, the meat component, if you take, we give out more greenhouse gases. Like, the cattle gives methane, we also give carbon dioxide and methane. So that is the problem, where beef is number one, next is pork, next is chicken, so all meat variety, and the milk products. These are, responsible for increase our carbon footprint. And because of this, there is already a rise of about 1 degree Celsius globally. And if it crosses 1.5, reaches 2 degree, definitely 30 to 40% of the biodiversity will be removed. So what I'm trying to say is, we are responsible for all these things. So if we don't check, we'll be facing havoc in future. And another thing is, the change in nature is always temporary, according to nature, because it's a long period. The present change may be harmful to you, you will be removed, but the nature continues.
Right.
It will come back to normalcy one or the other day.
It has survived 4 billion years.
4 billion years, and it will come back. That's why I said the desert can be converted to evergreen forest, and evergreen forest can be converted to a desert. But it takes a very long period of time, where we may see few generations.
Right.
You will not be there. People speak about end of earth, end of one. When you die, definitely
that is
earth
for you.
ends for you.
Right.
So that is my observation, and based on my observations, I give these inferences.
So, if we were to there's more depth in it. If we were to postulate like 10 commandment rules or something like that on nature's rules. One, you have mentioned the duality of nature. Nature is certain, doesn't. It is not like there's the right answers, straight away answers, yes or no. And then you mentioned changes, like desert can one day be turned into evergreen forest. Evergreen forest can be turned into desert. Like, for example, Sahara Desert, they say once upon a time was a huge lake, rich with biodiversity. So it takes a long time, but what it shows is change is always constant. Is that so? Can that be one rule of nature, where change is always constant?
Definitely, change is always a constant.
Right.
And you see, we speak about energy. Energy is the same, neither be created nor destroyed. So it is passed on from one organism to another. When I die, all these biomolecules will go back to the soil or water, and from there it will get into a plant body, from the plant body or microbe body into another organism. So food chain continues, food web continues. So what we say is, energy, it is constant. There is no change at all. So it is passed from one organism to another, or one form to another.
Right.
That's all.
And a third thing is, as you said, good things take time. Like nature says, patient. So that we can learn. Like, good things take time. Be patient like nature.
Yeah.
So what are the other things which you can tell it as a rule of nature, law or something, just like this? Change is constant. Good things take time. There is always the rules of nature.
Yeah.
As rules.
Definitely has a punishment. That is nature's rule.
Like reaction as a action as a reaction.
Every action has a reaction. And another thing is money. That is created by human beings. Nature has no value for that. Okay, if you cheat another person in the form of money, you will not be punished. Thing is, if you destroy nature, you will be punished. If you protect nature, you will flourish. So this is a very simple rule what I have seen. I don't want to take examples. People are engaged in activities like removing sand, and I have seen the families of so many people. They are not peaceful. They have money, lot of money, and money has no value in nature. But disease has a value in nature.
Right. The sound mind, healthy body, happy family can't bought by money.
That is the thing. That is the greatest value I have learned from nature. And another thing is, I've seen people, destroying nature, I'm saying. One way is we are removing flowers from the plants. This is the reproductive organ of a plant and to offer to God. So why do God require reproductive organ of all these organisms? That's my policy, It's got a religious importance. I don't want to touch that. I'm not a competent man to speak about all these things. But, that is for the plant actually. It's a reproductive part. And from that only we get new plant. A seed is formed. And see, this is the rule of nature. And we destroy. And sometimes we go and pluck the leaf for no reason. If it is for food, fine. No reason we pluck the leaves, we pull the plant. Even J.C. Bose has shown that even that has got the pulsatory theory he has shown that every organism has that, property of happiness, pain, all these things. So we have to realize that we are, using this nature as if it is free for us. Nothing is free in nature.
What do you mean by that?
Nothing is free in nature in the sense for everything you have to work hard.
Right.
To get your food, you have to work hard. Yeah, if you see a tiger chasing a deer, see, lot of plan is involved.
Right.
See the
Effort.
struggle. And fears. And it is using a lot of, we are saying we are intelligent. Lot of intelligence is seen there in catching a deer.
Right.
It goes and hits its legs first. When it falls, it holds the largest vein here in the neck.
Right.
And it bleeds it to death. Till that it is not leaving. It has got a powerful jaw. See, jaw muscle is a powerful muscle in the body. Who said these animals are not intelligent? And who said these animals are not able to converse or communicate? They have a very good communication system. For example, during tsunami we have seen, one day in advance only, previous evening, people there found that birds moving away from this area, animals moving away from this area, and monkeys also showed some behavioral changes. So these are things. And human being was not able to understand even after tsunami. He was not able to. And we are saying we are intelligent. So what I see is everybody has an equal right in nature. Whether it is a bacteria or a virus or a pest or a parasite or any animal, equal right. And we have that concept in our religion saying that sarva jana sukhino bhavantu. Jana means it is not only human beings, every organism living on this earth, everybody has got a right, everybody has a share. And equality and justice is another important, beautiful thing I get from nature. This is the way, everything is equal. Everybody, if they are fit, they will, procure their food. If they are fit, they will procure their house. And a tailor bird, you see, the way it, and a weaver bird, where they construct their nests. Who said they are not intelligent? It's an instinct, yes, but they are also intelligent. So, a lot of things. If you observe nature like this and analyze, people observe, but there is no analysis. If you analyze things, you will get answers. Nobody can teach you this is like this, but nature teaches you. Whenever you fail, nature teaches you this is not the way. You are not fit.
Right.
See, that is learning actually. Whenever you lose, there is a great learning. And we say we have failed. 0 is also an answer according to nature.
Right.
100 is also an answer. But we treat 100 as the victory. Even 0 can be a victory or future victory.
If you understand.
Understand.
So how do you observe nature? Like you sit and what is your thought process when observation and analyzing?
See, whenever we go, maybe I used to move in the bus or, in a crowded place. And crowding is the greatest stress that I have read in physiology. Crowding is the greatest stress. Yes, everybody is facing that. That is the maximum stress you face because other people touching your body and other things. You have to be, conscious and, you have to protect yourself. You have to be safe in that environment. Yes or no? This is also one kind of observation. What I'm trying to tell you is observation of nature is, everything. Your reaction, your action, it is a part of nature only.
It's like birds have point of view. Like you observing your behavior, changes.
Others' behavior, other animals' behavior, and how, it is, I always try to communicate with the dogs, street dogs. They respond very well. And dogs are able to identify whether this fellow is a dog lover or a dog hater, see very clearly.
Its mood also, happy
mood
or
also.
Bad mood.
Bad mood. And every time, you observe its eyes and communicate, try to communicate, it is also communicating. So, you said observing nature. This is also part of observation. So, we have to interact regularly with so many organisms. Sometimes we are interacting with parasites and falling sick. That is also interaction. There is also learning. Okay. See, parasite, one good thing I've seen is their intention is not to kill the host. If the host is died, even they die. So, that's a beautiful lesson for me. Parasites never wish to kill
the host.
Because they have to survive. And we straight away go and kill all the hosts around us like a huge tree. It's a host for so many birds, so many microorganisms, so many fungi, so many other organisms, maybe mammals, squirrels, rats, all these things. And some of them are, giving food for all these things. See, a food pattern also, we see monkeys in the forest. They switch on from one fruit to another fruit depending on the season. Don't you think they are intelligent? See, all the time a tree will not fruit, no? So they have alternatives, see. And there is something called as palatability, like we have.
Taste.
Palatability. The palatability I understand like this, where we touch our tongue regularly to the palate. That's called as palatability.
Okay.
Only when we like the food, palatable food we take, we regularly touch the tongue to the palate.
Oh, and is it?
That means the food is tasty for me.
Okay.
Otherwise, simply I swallow. So, no, this is my understanding.
Right.
So, there is no definition like that. But even organisms, animals, they have their choice of food. Some may like, they may not like. But for survival, they have to eat. And animals, they are very specific about food. Human beings are not. We say we are omnivorous and we can eat any kind of food. But we have to see whether your digestive system is suitable to digest that food.
Any example in particular?
Say, for example, I like sardine. And if I eat sardine, I develop diarrhea.
Okay, interesting.
So, because that has got omega fatty acids, everybody will say that is very good for health, but that itself is allergic to me, and that's why I develop loose motion. So I know this kind of food is not suitable for me. Then I should avoid that food. This is again another learning from nature. See, he said observation of nature. This is also part of observation of nature. So, I feel every day, every minute, every time you interact with other organisms, other people, you have learning process, but you don't observe them and analyze them. Sometimes we feel that by a stranger, we see a stranger and say, I cannot, stand this person. For what reason? If I start analyzing, I'll come back to normalcy. Otherwise, my blood pressure will go up, physiological variations will be there, sugar level shoots up. All these problems are there. Respiratory rate goes up, a lot of perspiration, adrenaline effect is seen. So, that is my way of observing nature. Everything found around me is environment. I constantly interact with the environment and environmental factors. I constantly observe how my body reacts to these things, how other organisms react to the environmental factors. You say, without fan I cannot survive. We can survive. You see all these people working outside from morning to evening in a hot sun. Where is fan for them, AC for them? So their body is, adapted to that condition, those conditions. We have all the comforts, but still we complain.
Sensitive about little things.
We speak about sensitivity, but see, if you are engrossed in some activity, even if you are sweating, for example, you are busy cleaning your car, and the focus is on your activity. If you sweat also, you remove the sweat and continue working.
Right.
But when you are sitting in a classroom or in the house, you want fan continuously. And fan means you are using electricity. Electricity means carbon footprint is, you are adding to carbon footprint. You are releasing a lot of greenhouse gases because
So the lesson is use only when it's necessary.
Necessary. Actually, most of the things what we human beings treat as a comfort is not a comfort. For example, AC.
Mm-hmm.
We keep it at 18 degrees Celsius, and our body temperature is 37.5, and body requires lot of energy to generate heat and maintain that
Right.
temperature of 37.5. And this is only the psychological requirement, not a physical requirement. So if the temperature around you is 32 or 33, Mangalore maximum 33,
Mm-hmm.
and you are 37.5, and this 33 degrees Celsius, that's why you are called as warm-blooded. Your body temperature is more than the surrounding temperature. That's why you are called as warm-blooded. And people always confuse for warm-blooded, or they say homeothermy. Homeothermy is a different concept. Homeothermy means you are maintaining a constant body temperature. Warm-blooded means your body temperature is warmer than the surrounding temperature. So when you have that your body temperature is more than the surrounding temperature, why do you need AC? AC is a psychological requirement. And again, we have seen the carbon footprint when you speak. The carbon footprint of rich class is lower than the upper middle class.
Carbon footprint of rich class is lower than?
Upper middle class.
How do you justify that?
I'll tell you. And lower in lower middle class and very less in poor. We have poor percentage more. Rich percentage is less.
Right.
Rich people are using all comforts, but still their carbon footprint is lower than upper middle class because that their number is very small compared to upper middle class and poor. Poor it is 1.9%. Rich may be around 32%. This may be around 50%, 40 to 50% upper middle class. Why? Because this upper middle class, they try to copy everything from higher rich class. I want AC, I want car, I want that. Because they are trying to mimic the rich class.
Social validation.
Validation. That is the problem actually. Actually, these things are not required for upper middle class. I have money, so I am trying to show others that I have money by mimicking a rich class.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically, you are adding more to carbon footprint.
Don't you think it's also part of irrational behavior?
Irrational behavior.
Just like I've read somewhere a theory by MIT scientists where they sometimes things which look irrational is kind of rational in terms of game theory. Like for example, peacock. Peacock is when it's mating, like it displays the beautiful dance, and and knowing that it is really vulnerable to the prey at that point. It is choosing reproduction over this thing. Like it seems irrational. Just like why people buy expensive things like cars, clothes, designer shoes. It is just like showing, like attracting better mates, or that I don't know what is the psychology.
Okay,
but
one thing I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest happiness, when you get a greatest happiness, when my part of a body or a skin is, scratch, I want to scratch that part, and while scratching, that is the greatest happiness.
Right.
Okay, that means the sense organs are very important here. When the sense organs are giving that input to your brain, you forget the entire environment.
Right.
Actually, there is rationality behind this. Reproduction is the prime thing in every organism.
Right.
You said peacock displays a dance, and reproduction is the prime thing because you are born to reproduce only.
And there are, case studies where bees die after mating. Like the balls explode.
Okay.
It means...
I studied one Sanskrit sloka long back when I was in high school or a PUC, where that is telling about your strength. Strength is one of a sense. All organisms have at least one powerful sense organ.
Mm-hmm.
For example, deer is a hearing capacity. You give a nice music, it will stay there only.
Oh.
That itself is its weakness.
Okay.
Your strength is a weakness. And dog, you said, the nasal power. That is it. It has that's what turbine like fun because larger surface area is exposed for these chemicals, and it has got that power. Like that, every organism is at least one powerful sense organ. We human, and that itself is the weakness. We human beings have 5 powerful sense organs. All 5 are weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
In the sense, they have one powerful sense organ, and that is the other powerful. Other sense organs are not that powerful, and that itself is the weakness. I'm saying. Maybe you said peacock displaying is one. Its main thing is reproduction. It may fall prey to another organism. Similarly, here, a deer listening to nice music, it may fall prey to another organism. It's easy to catch a deer with a nice
music on.
Okay. Similarly, you have 5 powerful sense organs. Taste is your weakness. That is a powerful sense organ.
Right.
Smell, aroma of a food is your weakness. Visual stimulus. On sweets, we put all those, glittery things, which is poisonous. And that is giving a good texture of a food for you. Texture of a food is also and hearing, that is also powerful in your case.
Mm-hmm.
Touch, the most powerful. That's why people go for massage and other things.
Right.
Touch receptors. So all these 5 powerful sense organs are your weaknesses. If somebody is giving a nice massage, you fall asleep.
Right. That's what philosophers say. Like if pleasure exceeds a certain limit, it becomes a punishment.
Punishment that is a weakness. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
5 powerful sense organs are the 5 weaknesses of every human being. No, this is my observation. And
right.
Long back those Sanskrit sloka, this is from that Sanskrit sloka I have learnt and I have checked with nature.
Your strength can become a weakness. That is one more nature law.
Strength can become a strength itself is a weakness.
Strength itself is a weakness.
We say that this is my strength. And you see a powerful, very strong person competing with the weakling. And he is hitting this weak one. But ultimately that weakling is using a powerful tool, that is jaw muscle, to bite and escape. This we see in organisms also.
Okay, can you share an example where animal adaptation, they still amazes you? Like what are the particular example that which you have made a long back or you have studied in book or seen and it still amazes you to this point?
See, I worked on green mussel, Parna viridis, the population dynamics of Parna viridis of St. Mary's Island. And this is an alien species.
Okay.
That has come from other countries.
Through ships?
Through ships. Because they have that byssal thread and they attach to the ship and come. And they are now worldwide. That's why we call them as alien species. Not original species of India, but it has come from other countries or other waters. So, this organism, I was doing the population dynamics and I was just, measuring the length, breadth, width, total weight, dry weight, shell weight, all these things I was doing. And, at one stage I was asking myself, why am I doing this? Because my guide said, this is the way to find out a population dynamics. At the end, when I applied all these statistics, I found, that's temporal variation over a period of time. I've seen a beautiful, this one I've seen. And this is a great learning from nature because we may not immediately see in nature what is happening. But our constant observation, our constant experience with nature and analyzing things and coming to conclusion, that is actually giving you a lot of happiness. More than my PhD degree, that gave me happiness.
Our own nature of
Our own
analyzing
nature,
things.
analyzing. And another thing is, how nature has followed that pattern. And these organisms definitely have adapted to these conditions very well. These are alien species and they have adapted. And this is actually, astonishing thing for me to see all these organisms, they adapt to the changed environment very fast. Only human beings are not ready for change. We don't adapt to the changes or the new environment. So this has, even Darwin has proved it long back with the theory, and that example he gave is Biston betuliaria, that peppered moth. Earlier, before Industrial Revolution, there was a grey-colored peppered moth,
Right.
large number. Black-colored, this one, they were seen in small number. But after the Industrial Revolution, when the soot was covering the bark, these were the winners. Because earlier, black one were, on the bark, grey-colored bark. Grey were mimicking the color, and the black one were picked up by the birds.
Right.
That is considered as negative. Later, after the Industrial Revolution, black one survived. Grey one were identified by birds and they were picked. So this is how, there is a change environment, and you may be surviving in these conditions, but in a change environment, you may not survive. You may be having a negative variation later, but all these negative variation can be made positive by understanding the changes in the environment. Human being is a very poor observer. We say he is intelligent, he is good in keen observer, all these things. But animals, they have 24 hours to interact with the nature.
Presence of mind.
We sleep 8 hours and remaining time we are busy with other things. We don't interact with nature constantly as these organisms do. Tinier the organism, metabolic rate is very high. That means they are interacting with nature constantly. And their survival period is very, very small, and they utilize fully. We have lot of time and we don't utilize. We don't observe. We don't analyze. We don't learn things. And most of things, if you see political scenario or any other this one, if you see, it is the same mistake repeated several times. Even we don't learn anything from our history. They say history repeats. Same thing, in human beings are doing the same mistakes as done earlier, and nature punishes. This continues.
Brings back to reality.
Yeah. But other organisms, they interact in a positive way and they live happily.
Okay, what are your unanswered questions in nature? Like that you're really eager to know the answer?
There are so many things. People speak about universe. I have not seen the universe. See, observation is lacking. And one thing, the astonishing thing is, surprising thing is, we are living on the surface of the earth, and what is there down, and other end, what is there, all these things. I have so many questions, but all questions will not be answered because I don't have that power which is there in nature. I am in a tiny portion of nature. I am enjoying my environment in the house or a surrounding environment in the college, and wherever I go, I observe, and my observation is very, very small. So definitely, 99.9% of the questions are not answered.
Right.
Maybe 0.001% knowledge I have. And based on this tiny drop, I am analyzing things. I may be wrong, but my analysis, the way I find answers, that gives me a lot of happiness. And it is not to, impress other people, even impress my students. I am not bothered about that. If they like my philosophy of nature, there are good number of people whom I consider as followers. But I tell them, everything from nature only. You learn from nature. Whatever you learn from me is very, very little. because I am experiencing nature, and based on that experience, I am transferring knowledge.
Right.
Instead of that, you directly experience nature and evaluate, come out with innovation. Innovation should be always for the growth of welfare of the society as well as fun.
Right.
It should not be destructive.
Flourishing.
Atom bomb. The idea was different, but
Right.
it is used for destruction.
It's a double-edged sword. I want to compare nature and the human behavior. Like individual behavior may be behavior in society by and large. There are some factors like I want to address where we can learn from nature what we are doing wrong. For example, parenting. In parenting, what can we learn? Like, what are we doing wrong, or it looks like a stupidity for nature, or what we can learn from nature in terms of in parenting.
Human parenting is stupid. See, giraffe, it gives birth to a young one, and young one falls from the height, and this kicks the young one continuously to stand up, to reach my udder. And if you take a cow, after its birth, it continuously licks the baby and encourages it to stand. You stand your own legs and reach my udder. But in human beings, we provide everything. We imagine things. For example, we give food to the baby. Even if it is not palatable, we push it through the pharynx of the baby. And, when the baby cries only, and it is demanding for breast milk only you have to give. It is not continuously giving, and whenever you feel. See, this is also considered as a part of a parenting. And you look after the young one till they are adults, and continuously you are behind them, and they are not learning anything.
Right.
In nature, all these organisms, once they see, there is one fish where the female lays eggs in the mouth of the male. And the male is not starving till the fries come out, they go out, come back, and that training is there. It opens, keeps the mouth open, they go out, and when they are free living, this closes the mouth and starts eating food. That is a fantastic fun. And even if you take a bat always gives birth to only single young one.
Oh.
And see, when it is flying, it has to carry the young one. No? The young one is holding them to the nipple and it is carried. And I feel this is the highest level of parental care. And what we do is we are, giving everything. What is, actually not required by the child. We feel that these are the things required for the child. I did not get when I was a child, all these things, our imagination.
Emotional.
And based on this, our parenting is decided. Like I did not have a proper shirt and shoes and other things. I tried to give 12 pairs of shoes, 12 sets of dress. See, that is my problem actually. So, my thing is, parental care is whenever the young one wants, we have to provide. And it is not everything, not when they are adults. See, we don't treat them adults even after 21 or till they get married. And in case of women, even after marriage, the
father is behind the woman.
No, even after the marriage, and the woman is giving birth to young one, that also taken care by the grandmother. See, where is learning? I may be wrong, but this is my observation.
Right.
When compared to nature. Human beings are, I feel they are mentally weak. We say we are strong. Repeatedly, I am telling you. I feel other organisms are stronger than human beings. They are more capable than human beings. They can, protect themselves. And we need securities. And we have, fear. That is a major problem. All human beings have fear of future. And they are living in the present
right.
conditions. And we don't, enjoy the present condition by using, keeping that fear of a future. That's the problem. And we think too much on these things.
Right.
And accumulation, amassing wealth, that is another major problem human beings have. And this problem is not there for any of the organisms. See, the rich person has a lot of money. Poor is, always his focus is on one square meal. That's the only problem with the poor person. But a rich person has a good food, but his problems are many, too many. How to safeguard his money, all this. He has got too many problems. So, money is the main problem. See, I feel, whatever money you want for today, that is enough. That is this one from nature, I am telling you. Whatever food they want for now, they get it. And even, we say that we are cutting the forest and creating another forest by putting saplings and other things. See, we are putting condition for that sapling. You have to survive here only. In nature, it is not a dispersal of seed, and it disperses in the right condition. Nature knows this is the right condition, right time. But we do it wrongly, and 90% of them, they do not germinate. Because we are putting condition for this seed. You have to be here only. In these conditions only you have to survive. So, human being is vague person.
Innovation from nature.
Yeah.
And okay, what about relationships? What humans can learn from nature on relationships? Maybe marriages, or maybe like family relationship.
No, like that. This is a society has framed all the rules, and we are following that. I don't know. I said religion, society, all these things. I don't want to touch because that is not my area. And see, sometimes nature has a different meaning for all these things. Procreation is the only formula in nature.
Right. Reproduce.
Species, that is a group of similar organisms which can give fertile young ones. Fertility is a major thing. And the fertile young one is always selected by nature. Or a fertile person. So, that is the idea in nature. You have to continue life.
Right.
That is your primary goal. We keep it aside and we have other ideas only. Our primary things are different. But I see all these organisms. As you said, it mates and, male dies in case of bees. The main purpose coming onto this earth surface is to reproduce. And that too, not just reproduction, it is to give birth to fertile young ones so that we ensure continuity of life.
Right. And they used to say pleasure is the bonus from nature.
Yes.
It's like
because that is given as a part because you indulge in this activity more and more. so that there is continuity. More. That is the philosophy. Okay. And pleasure, what is that? People, it is just stimulating the higher centers of the brain, pleasure centers of the brain. Pain, again, stimulating the pain centers of the brain. And that can be blocked with the, analgesics and other things. So, this is the only thing. There are pleasure centers. Which part of the brain you stimulate? So, that is the real listing of the nature. So, as you said, this is a bonus along with that because nature is stimulating you to indulge in this activity more and more so that there is production of fertile young ones and continuity of life.
So, are we the only creature who has a recreational copulation?
No.
Like, does
all other
nature also has like non-reproductive copulation?
That is true. See, there are breeding seasons for some of the organisms, like dogs. We have breeding season. And other seasons, they are not worried about that because this is the instinct given by nature. This is the right time nature has given. And you can see estrous cycle in the female. And there are pheromones in the air. Male sniffs air in the air and finds the direction of a female.
Right.
And this is how, that is an instinct and that nature's rule. And there are some breeders, they are continuous breeders. For example, rodents, rat, because they are considered as pests and chances of killing is high, so they are fast breeders. They have a estrous cycle of 6 to 8 days, and after that the pregnancy period is 21 days, followed by 21 days of weaning. Again, see, within 48 days you have one more litter. So they are fast breeders, and in every one you find, if it is rat, at least 7, if it is mice, about 13 young ones, because survival chance is less. So they are fast breeders.
What humans can learn in terms of communication from nature? Like, we communicate, there would be more of misunderstanding, lack of clarity. So how does we can take loose from nature?
Communication for a particular reason, purpose. Bats, they communicate. They are producing that sound, and there is obstruction. They can understand that. That is actually a radar system where they are able to understand that there is obstruction. They cannot see because they have tiny eyes. But the thing is, this one is location, echolocation, we say, with that. So you see bees, they communicate. There is a queen and worker bees. See, the communication is always there, and the social behavior is also always there. And birds also communicate. Organisms in danger also communicate, and others escape. All these, there's a wonderful communication system, and we call it as non-verbal. And we have that power of language skill, all these things. But most of the time we misuse. There is no purpose for communication most of the time.
Right.
So in all these organisms in nature, there is a particular reason, purpose. That's my observation.
Right. Interesting. What about nutrition? Like, where are we doing mistake in nutrition, like food, that we can learn from nature?
See, nature tells whenever you are in need, you have to take food. But we have followed a pattern: morning breakfast, lunch, evening snacks, because this is how we are brought up. And we have lost that concept of balanced diet. Balanced diet, rich protein, then comes carbohydrate, very little fat. Junk food is reverse, high fat content. Protein is very little or nil. See, that's why it's called a junk food. It is not a balanced diet. Why we call this as balanced diet? Because that proportion is there in our body. In a cell also, high protein, then comes carbohydrates, then lipids, and water is about 70%, and in blood it is 90%. See, what is our requirement? That much water is required.
Right.
The food component, these are required, and this is the right proportion. And we don't bother about all these things. And we eat a lot. That's the problem. What is required, more than that we eat, and assimilation is minimum, and we give out undigested waste lot. And we are trying to satisfy our
senses,
taste buds. That is our problem. For example, buffet they keep variety. Why the variety is kept? Because you have to select your type of food, your choice. But we start with the pickle and end with the dessert. We eat everything because it's given. So there should be a choice of food and a suitable food, which is suitable for your digestive system. Because every time, next day morning is a best test. You come to know what food you have eaten on the previous day. Was it right or wrong? But we neglect all these things. We are not worried about all these things. We are interested only in satisfying our taste buds. So that is my observation.
Right.
Whereas in animals, it is not that. They have a particular type of food to eat. And that's a wholesome food. Not, boiled. All proteins are, natural proteins. We are eating denatured proteins. No, this is a difference I'm telling, because we have developed that. I'm not blaming, But we have developed our food habits like that. That's why, for example, we put high sugar in the baby food. There only we start practice.
Big problem.
And it is already known to the world that Indian food means sugar level is high.
Or spice level.
Spice level is high. So that added sugar is not required. It's already there in front. So added salt is not required. Already there in the food. Coastal people, definitely we have a lot of salt in the food. But what we practice for a child only, we add salt and give. If we don't add salt and make it a habit for the child, and later when you add salt and give, it will reject. But this is a practice we have developed in the houses, and that's how we continue the same food habit.
What about sleep?
Pineal gland is responsible for the release of melatonin hormone. And when melatonin is released, it circulates in the body, definitely you fall asleep. And, we have various thought processes not stimulating or releasing this. And melatonin is released only when there is dark.
Out of light.
Ah.
Because it's a big problem
stimulus.
Actually right now. Even me, I also really find it really hard to sleep. Then low testosterone, other problems. Actually, root cause is lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep.
Like this generation, the biggest problem, like what they're doing wrong, I feel,
there is a circadian
including
rhythm,
me, is a lack of sleep.
Circadian rhythm. That is, whenever there is dark, you have to sleep. That's how the melatonin is stimulated. And we have changed our clock. That's our problem. Night time we are awake, daytime we are sleepy. And the entire pattern is changed. When the entire pattern is changed, metabolic activities are changed completely in the body. That is resulting in various problems of different parts of the body. So, root cause is, we have changed our biological clock. And it is not overnight. We have, given training for our body like that. That's a problem. At least 6 hours sleep per day for 24 hours. Very good sleep is really required to keep everything normal. Because during that time, all the parts of the body take rest. In the sense, they are relaxed. So that relaxation we are not giving. We are saying that, I am relaxing on my sofa or sun, but not sleeping. That is not the right relaxation exercise.
What is the proper way to sleep for humans?
Take a comfortable posture on a bed. And the environment is also important. It should be a dust-free, good environment to sleep. And see, earlier days, we had that practice. We had a single bed sheet most of the time, wash and I reuse again. And my bed sheet should be always there with me because, others I cannot use. That bed sheet only gives me good sleep because my pheromone in that bed sheet, my smell in that bed sheet gives me good sleep. That's why I said environment is very, very important. And we always say, this is my bed, my pillow. Because all those pheromones present in the sweat, that is giving you a good feeling. And that is giving you your environment of sleep.
What about ethics? What we can learn from animals or nature in terms of ethics?
And I told you, all the criminal laws or anything, lawmakers, what they use is natural principles. We give justifications. We argue based on nature's laws. So, ethics, that is again defined by individual. There also, animals, they have their own pattern. And we have to decide what I want to do, what I have to do, what I should not do. Because nature gives you input. This is the right way of doing. And whenever you think that this is the wrong way, you get that input. Inner sense tells you that this is not right, but still you do. As you said, for a small price of pleasure. And every organism gets that input saying that this is right, this is wrong. That's why I said nature always says yes or no. And I said values come from nature only. Nature only tells you this is right, this is wrong. You should not destroy.
That's interesting, right? Like we know innately like what is right, what is wrong.
Wrong.
Like we have the compass.
We know. But you are not ready to accept because of the environmental factors, your friends, your other people, peer pressure, all these things. See, drug is used to treat ailments. If you abuse, that is wrong actually. Everybody knows. When you start only, you know, you start abusing. Actually, this drug is not required for me, but still I am using means that is abuse. Don't you think every individual knows? Even after abusing, they know that it is wrong. They don't give their justification saying that I am right. And they give other things, saying that, other reasons saying that this country allows, that country allows. These are all justifications they give for. They know that when they give such justification, we come to know that they know that this is wrong.
I mean, that's what some philosophers say. Our biggest weakness is justifying the things what we are doing wrong.
The person knows. And sometimes we do wrong things to tell others that I am a hero. And I want to, show the people that I am strong. I am going against the law. Actually, that is not accepted in nature. You have to follow the rules and regulations put forth by nature, similarly put forth by society, similarly put forth by government. There are things, factors which are controlling us. We cannot escape from these factors. Maybe government rules also. We cannot escape from this. When I live in this place, I have to follow the rules and regulations of this place.
So what are your thoughts on, I want to present the present context in society or, in human civilization. There are new ideas coming up where plant-based diet, cell-based diet. They say food like, which tastes like meat, but it's not meat. Made from cell culturing or a plant which tastes like they mimic the plant based nutrition to taste like animal. So what's your opinion on that? Like those things?
Again, we know that our dentition pattern, everything is for plant diet. So here we are doing modifications because we have already, into that pattern of food, and I am giving alternative to satisfy your psychological requirement. And instead of that, why can't you go switch over to plant diet only? When you are not, when you know that, again you know that it's a wrong thing according to you, and it is not nutritional. But anything modified, which is there in nature, anything modified, it is harmful. We say biotechnology, technologically modified, all these things.
Right.
Genetically modified organisms, anything. We have, done it for research purpose or the output we are trying to market it. That is our problem. Anything modified, even food, if it is modified. I said no, organisms, animals, they eat the food directly from nature, and whatever their requirement, they get it directly. We modify by cooking and other things. Okay, that is accepted, and we have come a long way.
Right.
We cannot go back. But these things, again, we are doing a mistake by, giving these type of this one modified things, and there, for example, to get a juice of mango taste, what chemical magic you do there? No one knows. And that is harmful for our system. So, anything modified is harmful. That is nature's rule. Anything processed or modified main thing, the actual water component is removed. Then again you add water, that is different. But see, all these processes, water is removed. And when the water major component is removed, what happens to the composition of the food, So, anything modified, anything processed, I feel it is bad. But some of the basic things which are already modified, we have a modified food.
Right. And what's your view on GMOs, like genetically modified? Like if they does it have any effect on?
Already, group of scientists have to. Sorry, there also people are saying yes and no. Earlier we got irradiation of food. There were two groups of scientists, UK based and US based. US was supporting, UK was opposing.
Preserving food through radiation.
Irradiated food.
Right.
Similarly, this also. So, we come with innovation, we try to market those things, but nature, I feel it's not, according to me, it's not acceptable.
Right. So, what do you say about human gene modification? I think in future, technology like CRISPR, genetic editing, where you can treat blood anemia or very critical things with genes, but eventually it will go on to beautifying good jawline or eyebrows or beautifying yourself through genetical engineering.
That's what I said. These innovations, therefore, marketing. Money is involved. My view is that ultimately our goal is to get a lot of money. Okay, if it is for a treatment of a disease, we can give a scope. We can accept it to some extent. Treatment for the welfare of the environment, welfare of people, welfare of the society, we can accept.
Right. Apart from that, it shouldn't be. Any other law you have forgot to mention?
I think I have covered almost everything.
Yeah. Right. I mean, my biggest takeaway is that duality, yes or no. Like
yes
nature has a straightforward answer. And how do nature, as you said, we think about the future and worry. What it is fundamentally is fear of uncertainty. Like future is always uncertain.
Fear of success.
Fear of success. What do you mean by that?
In the sense, whether I will succeed or not in this process.
Okay.
See, we always want to be successful. And we don't have that definition of success. And it is actually floating in air.
Subjective.
And major this one is I want to earn a lot of money. I should have a, good house, car, children doing well, comforts. We have defined our success in these things only. Success according to nature is giving birth to fertile young one.
Right. And this is the biggest problem these days. This generation is choosing not to have children. There is a sudden shift in society demographic. The weave of having, back 10, 20 years, just back, it was family oriented. Humanity's lifestyle was family oriented. Having a good family was a dream. Now it's a career and most of them not choosing to have children because the cost of raising children have shoot up. And
actually, this is, if you see Indian scenario or any country like India, we want to mimic the higher level countries, US mainly. That is our problem. That's why I said upper middle class trying to mimic the richer one. Here also we try to mimic these countries, and that is the effect of globalization. See, we have a globalized uniform. Jeans pant and white t-shirt, blue jeans and white t-shirt. It's a globalized uniform. See how it has spread all over the world. Similarly, food pattern. Because of all these type of Kentucky chicken, all these,
Right.
It has become a globalized food now. So, diversity is lost. Even in India, the problem is the loss of diversity. Not only biodiversity, diversity in food, diversity of culture, all these things. That is the major problem. We have to retain diversity.
Right.
That's why I said processed food is bad. Because when the processing comes, we are losing diversity.
Right.
So diversity is another law
Of nature. Nature favors diversity.
Diversity only. And wherever diversity is there, that country, that place, that part of the world, or that part of the ecosystem will survive, flourish.
That's why India is flourishing, because
Flourishing.
a lot of diversity.
A lot of diversity. And it's a tropical country. Tropical countries always have, the 4 seasons are not there, all those things. And extreme weather conditions are not there. We are lucky actually.
Right.
And,
even biodiversity is huge.
Because of that biodiversity flourishing. That's why you see the megadiversity countries are seen in the tropical countries.
Right.
Subtropical and temperate, very little diversity. Because they have extreme weather conditions.
Yeah, I mean, even human diversity is more in like tropical countries.
Tropical countries. And that is because, and earlier we had high fertility rate. Now you said about
Right.
fertility rate is also reducing.
Right. Major
One of the
concern.
statistics says 1 out of every 10 couple in India is infertile. And adding to that, all these, our people are delaying marriage,
Right.
family is fun, and delaying the,
Right.
and having kid after 30, definitely there will be genetic disorders.
Right.
See, we should be thankful to nature or God that I have a proportionate body. That itself is a great, the contribution of nature.
Right.
I have a perfect, proportionate, healthy body.
And there's one last controversial topic. I don't know if you would like to touch upon it or not. Gender and sex debate. Like there is technology or treatments available where a person can change the gender. Male can become female, female can become male. What do you say about that? What is your opinion on gender and sex debate? Like they can be, what their philosophy, it states is you can be who you want to be. Like, if you want to identify as female, you can go through the
No, there are a
surgical
lot of things here.
procedures.
One is sexuality. All 4 kinds of sexuality is there in nature. Asexuality, homosexuality, heterosexuality, bisexuality. All kinds of sexuality is there. There is hermaphroditism, all these.
Right.
It is there in nature. So, that is coming to human beings. But this is not instinct of nature. If it is instinct of nature, we have to accept it. If it is not instinct, it is environmental factor.
Mm-hmm.
If it is environmental factor, we cannot accept. We have to correct that environment. We have to give a proper teaching or training to these young minds. There we lack. I said this is also, I find, as a globalized effect.
Right.
Globalized effect.
Like mind ideas, psychological ideas.
Psychological problems.
They're influenced
I
by
find
some
the students saying depression. Where was depression when we were young? Nothing.
Right.
No depression.
So what do you say about depression, other mental
I
health
don't-
concepts?
I said they are not in touch with nature. That is the problem. That's the cause of depression. If you are regularly interacting with nature, there will not be any depression.
Right. Stuck in a room in dark place and you call yourself...
You change your life pattern and you say, I'm different from others. You are not different. You are following one particular set of people and you think that is modernism.
Right.
So that is your problem. You have created that environment for you. And anything is, nature is like that. Most of these things, what is happening to you, you are responsible.
Right.
Even a dog is entering the neighboring, it's fun.
Right.
That may be killed or that may be chased or that may be wounded. You have to face the consequence because you are given a territory. You urinate and decide your territory. After that, you go beyond that territory. Who is responsible? You are responsible for your
Correct. And humans play the victim mentalities most of the time. Sometimes, they don't take responsibility for the consequences they're faced.
Yes.
They play victim card. Somebody did that to me. It's like whatever happens to you, it's your responsibility. It's your fault, or it's your can't blame someone.
Whatever things happen to you, you are responsible.
Right.
You blame the environment. You try to give justification for your failure. But actually, it is your responsibility to keep you protected, to keep you active, to keep you not going to the depression state.
Right.
You are responsible.
So, we are short of time. I would have loved to have a conversation long. It's very, engaging it is. So I want to end this with last question. Even I was a zoology student. Most of the students, like the huge percentage of students, they take up zoology on the process because it's a combination with other subjects. And they move out of the class, university or, education system, not mastering in zoology. But, they can't, they get into other things, other fields, work. When they go out of zoology class, they may have studied the anatomy, physiology, the evolution, all things. So what you as a professor say, people like student should take away from the zoology class after they graduate? What is the major takeaway from the zoology class?
What I find is student may not continue in the same field. But here we try to give a link to nature. That is that you have to carry forward. That link with nature you have to continue and keep in touch with nature, analyze and interact regularly with nature. I said many ways you can interact with nature. So that you keep, and that may be your entertainment also. That may be your hobby also.
Interesting.
So that I want them to continue that way. And there are so many people, gone to engineering, completed, and they are successful there, come back to nature, maybe the nature photographer, or sometimes, all these people who are working on diversity, majority of them come from these areas, those who have not studied zoology in their undergraduate program. So that is, they have observed nature and they found it is interesting and they have developed that subject by themselves and they are interested. And most of the their pastime is this only, interacting with nature. This is one way of interacting with nature. Maybe nature photography or going for, trekking or other things. Trekking, you give importance to nature because you are in direct contact with nature and you are trying to protect you also, that you are trying to balance your body, all these things, these are the things we get from nature. Even balancing of your body is taught by nature. The environmental factors are responsible for balance. Maybe a wind is flowing, you say, you first, go a trial and error is one. Which side is better? Okay, this is comfortable for me. Or to sleep also, which is better posture for you. It is not the same for all. So people are saying this is the right way. There is nothing right or wrong in nature. What is comfortable for you? What is suitable for you? What is giving you happiness? These are the things where nature tells you go like that only. That is the method. And every composition is different in nature. See, every time a child is born, that is the best composition at the right time. The best sperm has met the best egg. And that has given that composition to you, and you have to respect that.
It's beautiful, right? Like trillionth of possibility of you being born.
So, this is a beautiful, subject where, see, actually I was supposed to take up PCM. Because of Father Leo, I came to life sciences. And I'm thankful to him because it has given me a lot of happiness being with nature. And initially, Father Leo was responsible for taking us for field work. And there, we, as a student only, we were in touch with nature. So I'm thankful to Father Leo for this.
Thank you so much for the conversation. I think It was lovely having you. I mean, I'm glad we did this conversation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.